Imagine this moment, right now. Before you are four stones, each holding a different kind of silence, a different kind of power. Your hand is drawn to one, maybe without you even understanding why. Is it the sparkling diamond, the deep purple amethyst, the blood-red ruby, or the simple gray stone? Don't overthink it. Just allow your intuition to guide you. That initial pull, that magnetic connection, is a message from a deeper part of you. It's a clue to the role you've been playing in your own life, often without realizing it. And be prepared, because by the end of this journey, a detail will emerge, something you didn't expect, that will reframe everything you thought you knew about your inner strength. This isn't a test with right or wrong answers. It's an exploration. Each stone is a map to a different kind of power, a different strategy for surviving and thriving in a complex world. Let's begin with the diamond. If your hand moved toward this stone, you are drawn to the archetype of the architect and the perfectionist. The diamond is carbon, the most common of elements, transformed under unimaginable pressure and heat deep within the earth. It doesn't just endure, it becomes the hardest natural substance known to us. This is not strength born of gentleness. It is strength born of relentless refinement. Your power comes from this very source. Your refusal to compromise on quality, your unwavering commitment to your vision, and your incredible capacity for discipline. You see the world as a structure that can be improved, a blueprint that can be perfected. You are the one who stays late, who revises the plan one more time, who notices the single detail that everyone else missed. This isn't just a habit. It's a core part of your identity. It's how you create safety and order in a world that often feels chaotic. This drive for excellence is your greatest shield. When life feels unpredictable, you respond by doubling down on what you can control. Your own effort, your own standards, your own performance. While others might settle for good enough, that phrase feels like a surrender to you. It feels like a risk. By controlling every variable, by polishing every facet of your work and your life, you build a fortress against disappointment and failure. But every fortress has a weak point. The same immense pressure that creates the diamond also makes it brittle. Struck at precisely the right angle, it can shatter. Your perfectionism, your greatest strength, also creates a vulnerability. The fear of that one critical misstep, that one unforeseen crack in the facade, can become a constant source of low-grade anxiety. Where does this intense need for control come from? For many, it begins in childhood. It's a lesson learned in an environment where love and approval were conditional, where mistakes were met with criticism or withdrawal, and where praise was reserved only for exceptional achievements. You may have learned early on that your value was not inherent, but had to be earned, proven, and constantly defended. Or perhaps you witnessed someone close to you crumble under pressure, and you made a silent vow to yourself that you would never allow yourself to be so vulnerable. So you became the opposite, contained, controlled, and seemingly unbreakable. You learned that flawlessness was the only reliable defense. This internal architect is always at work. You are constantly refining your skills, analyzing your performance, and seeking out new knowledge. This makes you incredibly effective in any field that rewards mastery. You are the person who prepares for every contingency, who anticipates problems before they arise, and who holds themselves to a standard that others might find exhausting. People see your success, your competence, and your seemingly effortless grace under pressure. What they often don't see is the hidden cost, the relentless inner critic that narrates your every move, the exhaustion of maintaining a flawless public face, and the quiet loneliness that can come from being on a self-imposed pedestal. This brings us to a crucial point. Here's a question very few people ever ask themselves. What if the drive for perfection isn't about achieving something, but about avoiding something? What if your strength is actually a highly sophisticated defense mechanism? That tender part of you that once felt inadequate, unsafe, or unworthy is the very thing your perfectionism is designed to protect. The harder you work to polish your external self, the more you are trying to outrun a shadow from your past. For the next 72 hours, I invite you to try a small experiment. Begin to notice the voice of your inner critic. Don't argue with it. Don't try to silence it. Just observe it with a neutral curiosity. Ask yourself, whose voice is this, really? When did I first learn to speak to myself this way? You might discover it's not your own voice at all, but an echo of a parent, a teacher, or a culture that taught you your worth was conditional. Then, take one concrete step. Do one thing imperfectly on purpose. Send an email with a small typo and resist the urge to correct it. Leave a dish in the sink overnight. Deliberately choose the less than optimal route to work. Pay attention to the physical sensations that arise. The tightening in your chest, the clenching in your jaw, the frantic urge to fix it. That discomfort is a compass. It's pointing directly to the energy you expend every single day, maintaining the illusion of flawlessness. Your anchor phrase for this practice is this: I am whole, even when I am not perfect. Repeat it to yourself when you feel the pressure building. You don't have to believe it at first. Just plant it like a seed and see what grows. But don't settle here. This is only the first stone. The path of the amethyst, with its deep and mysterious wisdom, awaits. And what 90% of people miss is this: the stone you didn't choose reveals just as much as the one you did. If you were drawn to the amethyst, you resonate with the archetype of the healer and the mystic. Unlike the diamond, which reflects light outward, the amethyst absorbs it, holding it within its crystalline structure. It forms in the hollows of the earth, in the empty spaces, growing slowly from mineral-rich water into a thing of quiet beauty. Its strength isn't about hardness or perfection. It's about depth, intuition, and the ability to transmute darkness into light. Your power lies in your capacity to see beyond the surface, to feel into the undercurrents of emotion, and to hold a safe space for others to do the same. You are the person people instinctively turn to when they can no longer bear their own burdens. There is a calm in your presence, a sense of non-judgment that makes confession feel possible. You don't rush to offer solutions or easy platitudes. Instead, you listen with an intensity that makes the speaker feel truly seen. You know how to sit with pain, your own and others, without flinching. This is a rare and profound gift. You understand that some things cannot be fixed, only witnessed, and that in the act of compassionate witnessing, healing begins. The ancient Greeks believed the amethyst could prevent intoxication, its name meaning not drunk. This speaks to its power to maintain clarity not just from alcohol, but from the intoxicating dramas of life, from panic, from illusion. You have a natural ability to stay centered when chaos erupts around you. This innate sensitivity is your greatest protection. It allows you to navigate the world by feeling rather than by force. You are comfortable in the liminal spaces, the quiet moments at dawn, the hush of a waiting room, the space between breaths. Carl Jung would say, You have a permeable boundary to the collective unconscious, the realm of shared symbols, myths, and memories that hums beneath the surface of our individual lives. You pick up on things others miss, the subtle shift in tone, the unspoken tension in a room, the feeling that something is about to happen. This intuition is your compass, guiding you away from danger and toward what is authentic and true. But where does this profound sensitivity come from? Often it develops in individuals who felt different from a young age. You may have been the child who felt emotions so intensely they were almost physical, who was overwhelmed by loud noises or crowded rooms, who seemed to know things without being told. You learned that the surface world, with its unspoken social rules and transactional relationships, was confusing and often painful. So you retreated inward, building a rich, complex inner world that felt safer and more real than the one outside. Your depth is a sanctuary you built for yourself, brick by brick, out of necessity. However, this great strength has a shadow side. Being an emotional sponge is exhausting. You absorb the feelings of everyone around you, the anxiety of a stranger in the grocery line, the grief of a friend, the anger of a family member, and if you are not careful, you can lose track of which feelings are actually your own. This is the path to burnout for the amethyst archetype. You can become so enmeshed in healing others that you neglect your own needs, your own pain, your own life. You might find yourself surrounded by people who take more than they give, drawn to your light without understanding the energy it takes to keep it shining. There's another subtle danger: spiritual bypassing. It can be tempting to use your depth as a way to avoid the messy, mundane realities of life. Contemplating the nature of the cosmos can feel more noble than paying your bills. Helping a friend through a crisis can feel more important than addressing the conflict in your own relationship. The mystic path can become a hiding place, a way to feel special and different while secretly feeling inadequate to handle the simple demands of everyday existence. Stop for a moment. What if I told you that your sensitivity, the very thing you may have been told is too much, is actually your superpower? The choice of the amethyst reveals that you are protecting your right to feel deeply in a world that often rewards numbness. You have built your strength around staying open, but that openness must have boundaries, or it becomes a perpetual wound. For the next 72 hours, your practice is to create a conscious, energetic boundary. Before you enter a crowded space or begin a difficult conversation, take 3 slow breaths. As you exhale, imagine a luminous filter of violet light forming around you. It's not a wall, it's a semi-permeable membrane. It lets love and connection flow in, but it filters out the energetic noise that isn't yours to carry. At the end of the day, notice the difference in your energy levels. Your practical step is to identify one relationship or situation where you consistently overgive. For just 3 days, consciously pull back your energy by 20%. Don't announce it. Just do it. See if the world actually falls apart when you stop holding it all together. You might be surprised. Your anchor phrase is, "My depth is a strength, not a weight." Repeat it when you feel yourself drowning in the emotions of others, or when you feel guilty for needing solitude. If you're finding value in this journey, take a moment to hit the like and subscribe button. It helps this work reach more people who need it. And there's a crucial turn ahead you won't want to miss. Now let's turn our attention back to the stones. We've explored perfection and depth. But what if your strength isn't quiet? What if it burns? The ruby is waiting. If your hand reached for the ruby, you are aligned with the archetype of the warrior and the passionate soul. The ruby does not whisper, it roars. It is a stone of vitality, of courage, of a life force that refuses to be contained. Formed from the mineral corundum infused with chromium, its fiery color is a testament to its creation under intense heat. It absorbs all colors of the spectrum except for red, which it radiates back out into the world with unapologetic brilliance. This is the heart of your strength, your passion, your desire, and your insistence on living a life that is fully felt. You don't just exist, you burn. You are the person who dives in head first while others are still testing the water. Your energy precedes you, entering a room before you do. For you, life is not a spectator sport. It is a full contact experience. You love with your whole heart. You fight for what you believe in with every fiber of your being. And you grieve with a rawness that can be unsettling to others. This intensity is your primary tool for navigating the world. When you want something, your focus becomes a laser beam. When you are moved by something, your emotion is a tidal wave. You would rather risk spectacular failure than live a life of quiet regret. Mediocrity is your kryptonite. This passionate nature is your protection. It shields you from the slow, creeping death of apathy. When faced with pain, you don't numb yourself. You meet it, engage with it, and trust in your ability to burn through it. When faced with a challenge, you don't shrink from it. You rise to meet it, fueled by the adrenaline of the fight. Your courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the decision that something else is more important. You have learned that the only way to feel truly alive is to risk getting hurt. You have chosen the path of the warrior, where every scar is a map of a battle fought and survived. But this fire, if untended, can become a consuming force. The shadow side of the warrior archetype is a potential addiction to intensity and conflict. You might find yourself creating drama where there is none, simply because peace can feel like stagnation. You might sabotage stable relationships or satisfying careers because the comfort feels like a cage. Your hunger for aliveness can become a bottomless pit, leading you to chase ever greater thrills, ever higher stakes, without ever feeling truly satisfied. You can become a wildfire, consuming yourself and everything around you in your relentless pursuit of more. Where does this insatiable hunger come from? Often, it is forged in an early environment where you had to fight to be seen, to be heard, to have your needs met. You learned that passivity leads to being overlooked, and that you had to make noise to survive. Or perhaps you experienced a profound loss that taught you on a cellular level how precious and fleeting life is. You decided then and there that you would not waste a single moment, that you would squeeze every last drop of experience out of your time here. Your passion is a rebellion against the idea of a life half-lived. This brings us to a provocative thought. Stop for a second. What if I told you that your passion, the thing you identify as your core strength, might actually be your most sophisticated defense mechanism? It's a brilliant strategy to avoid a deeper, more terrifying feeling. The stillness of your own being, the potential emptiness that lies beneath the constant motion. If you stopped moving, stopped striving, stopped fighting, who would you be? The fear of that question is what keeps the fire raging. For the next 72 hours, your practice is the sacred pause. Before you react to that triggering email, before you make that impulsive decision, before you jump into the next exciting project, stop. Take 10 deep, slow breaths. Feel the urgency, the adrenaline, the intense desire to act now. But don't act. Just hold the energy. What new information emerges in that small gap between impulse and action? The goal is not to extinguish your fire, but to learn how to direct it. Your practical step is to identify one area of your life where your intensity is creating more heat than light. Perhaps it's a relationship where your passion is overwhelming your partner, or a goal where your impatience is causing you to make mistakes. For 3 days, consciously reduce your energetic output in that one area by just 20%. See if you lose power, or if you actually gain focus and precision. Your anchor phrase is, "My fire serves best when it warms, not consumes." Use it as a mantra when you feel the familiar surge of intensity. You don't need to become someone else. You just need to build a hearth for your own magnificent fire. Now, we have one stone left. We've explored the brilliance of the diamond, the depth of the amethyst, and the fire of the ruby. But what if you chose none of these? What if your strength lies in something the world so often overlooks? The simple gray stone holds a wisdom that may be the most radical of all. If you found yourself drawn to the simple gray stone, you connect with the archetype of the realist and the anchor. This stone doesn't sparkle or burn. It doesn't boast a royal lineage or a mythic history. It simply is. You can find it on any riverbed, any forest path, any coastline. Its power is not in its rarity, but in its ubiquity, its endurance. This stone has survived ice ages, floods, and the rise and fall of civilizations. It is the foundation, the bedrock, the quiet witness. If you chose this stone, your strength is not in performance, but in presence. It is a grounded, unassuming power, rooted in authenticity and an unwavering connection to what is real. You are the person who remains when the chaos subsides. People may not notice you at first in a crowded room, but they rely on you. Your strength is not in flashy gestures, but in quiet consistency. You are the friend who shows up not just for the wedding, but for the messy divorce that follows. You are the colleague who stays to help clean up after the project is done. You don't need external validation to know your worth, because your sense of self is not built on the shifting sands of public opinion. It is built on the solid ground of your own character. What you see is what you get, and in a world obsessed with image and branding, this simple authenticity is a revolutionary act. This groundedness is your ultimate protection. While others are chasing the next promotion, the next thrill, the next spiritual high, you find meaning in the rhythm of the ordinary. You understand that most of life is not composed of dramatic peaks, but of the gentle, rolling hills of daily existence. Making coffee, doing your work, talking with loved ones, watching the seasons change. You have made peace with this, and in that peace, you have found a profound and unshakable freedom. You are not swayed by hype or panicked by crises, because you are anchored to something deeper. However, every strength has its shadow, and the shadow of the gray stone is the risk of invisibility and stagnation. Your humility can become a hiding place. You might use being realistic as an excuse to avoid taking necessary risks, to avoid dreaming bigger, to avoid admitting what you truly want for fear of disappointment. There is a fine line between acceptance and resignation, and it's a line you have to watch carefully. Are you choosing a simple life because it genuinely fulfills you, or because you are afraid to pursue a more complex one? Furthermore, because you don't demand the spotlight, you are often overlooked. You see others with less talent or less integrity get the promotion, the praise, the recognition, while your steady, consistent contributions go unnoticed. You tell yourself you don't care, that you are above such things, but if you are honest, there is a part of you that feels a quiet sting of hurt. Your refusal to play the game sometimes means you lose opportunities that you have rightfully earned, and that would genuinely serve your growth. Your inner critic likely attacks you for being boring, for playing it too safe. It compares you to the diamonds and rubies of the world and whispers that you've settled. It's crucial to discern whether this voice is pushing you toward your own authentic expansion, or simply echoing a cultural obsession with noise and glamour. The choice of the gray stone reveals that you are protecting your right to be authentic in a world that constantly demands performance. You have built your strength around being real because you have learned, perhaps through painful experience, that the gap between who you are and who you pretend to be is an exhausting and soul-crushing place to live. For the next 72 hours, your practice is to notice where you make yourself small, not where you are being appropriately humble, but where you downplay your own expertise, deflect a compliment, or stay silent when you have valuable insight to share. Just observe these moments without judgment. Your practical step is to engage in one small act of positive visibility. It could be speaking up in a meeting, sharing a piece of your work online, or clearly and directly asking for something you want instead of hoping someone will offer it. The goal is not to become an egotist, but to practice taking up your rightful space in the world. Your anchor phrase is, "My simplicity is a choice, not a limitation." Use it as a shield when you feel pressured to be someone you're not. The gray stone does not apologize for its lack of sparkle. It knows its own worth. We have now explored all 4 stones. But the final piece of this puzzle, the detail I promised at the beginning, is not about the stone you chose. It's about learning to hold them all. Stay for this last part. This practice takes less than 2 minutes, but it's what separates people who understand themselves from those who just think they do. Find a quiet place where you can be undisturbed for just the next 90 seconds. You can close your eyes, or simply let your gaze soften and rest on a point in front of you. Take 3 slow, deep breaths. With each exhale, feel your body release a layer of tension. This isn't about achieving a state of perfect meditative bliss. It's simply about arriving in this present moment, in this body, right now. Now, in your mind's eye, bring forth the image of the stone you chose at the very beginning. See its color, its texture, the way light hits its surface. Feel its symbolic weight in the palm of your hand. As you hold this image, notice the primary feeling that arises. Is it a sense of security, pride, calm, a quiet hum of power? Whatever it is, simply acknowledge it without judgment. This stone represents your primary strategy, your default mode of being and protecting yourself in the world. Silently say to yourself, "This is how I have learned to stay safe. I honor this strength." Take another slow breath. Now, imagine the other 3 stones appearing in the space around your chosen one. See the diamond with its brilliant, precise fire. See the amethyst with its deep, intuitive calm. See the ruby with its passionate, courageous heat. See the gray stone with its solid, unwavering presence. All 4 are there. They are not in competition. They represent a full spectrum of strength that exists as a potential within you. Pay close attention. Which stone feels the most foreign to you? Which one does your mind want to dismiss as not me? That feeling of resistance is pointing to a part of yourself that you have exiled, a strength you have yet to claim. This is the key. True inner strength is not about identifying with one archetype. It is about having access to all of them. The purpose of this journey was not to put you in a box, but to show you the box you've been living in, so you can learn to step outside of it when necessary. Here is your final practice, and it's the most important one. For the next 72 hours, your task is to borrow the strength of the stone you feel most disconnected from. If you chose the diamond, and your life has become rigid and joyless, ask yourself in moments of stress, what would the gray stone do right now? The answer is likely something simpler, more accepting, more human. If you chose the ruby, and you are feeling burnt out and exhausted from the fight, ask, what would the amethyst do? The answer is likely to go inward, to listen, to create space for quiet reflection instead of immediate action. If you chose the amethyst, and you are feeling overwhelmed and drained by others, ask, what would the diamond do? The answer is likely to set a clear, sharp boundary, to say no without apology, to bring structure to the chaos. If you chose the gray stone, and you are feeling stagnant and invisible, ask, what would the ruby do? The answer is likely to take a small, bold risk, to speak your truth, to choose passion over passive safety. You are not betraying your nature, you are expanding it. This is what Jung called the process of individuation, becoming whole by courageously integrating the rejected parts of ourselves. The diamond needs the gray stone's humility to be truly brilliant. The ruby needs the amethyst's stillness to sustain its fire. The amethyst needs the diamond's boundaries to be a safe harbor. The gray stone needs the ruby's passion to avoid turning into a statue. Your final anchor phrase, the one to carry with you beyond this session, is this: I contain all four stones. I am not limited to one. Repeat this to yourself whenever you feel yourself defaulting to your old, familiar strategy, especially if it isn't working. The stones are not your destiny. They are tools in your toolbox. You have a whole collection. Learn to use them all. If this exploration has resonated with you, share the stone you chose and one word about how this final practice felt in the comments below. It solidifies your insight and signals to others that they are not alone on this path. This journey is just beginning. Tomorrow, we will explore another set of symbols that will take us even deeper. See you then.